Hi, everybody. It's Alana from Alana Does Life back here in my, again, squeaky chair. I'm going to read 2 journal entries for you from after my son Travis was killed. This is the first one I ever wrote. I actually skipped it in my last reading. So I'm going to read this one and then the third one I wrote, and then a little discussion afterward to help potentially you to help you. That's the whole point of what I'm doing here. So, okay, June 10th, 2020. I had my first appointment with a specialized therapist today. It was mostly just a setup appointment of baseline info. It is surprising to me how easily I can cry in front of total strangers. I can't seem to hold it back or even want to. He asked me about feeling guilty, and that really struck a nerve. I do feel guilty that I couldn't keep Travis safe. I feel guilty that he lost his chance on life. I feel that God is punishing me, and poor Aaron and Travis are part of that. I wish that I could focus on all the positives, that our lives were saved and spared. I just miss my baby and am so upset for him. Last night, when Nico was running around the house, I cried. I thought about how I should have 2 little boys running around, how we should have 2 wild men, 2 naked butts, 2 little voices screaming and laughing. I wish so much for Nico, my joyful, loving, and kind son, to share his life and love with a sibling. on the phone, the senior therapist asked me to plan ahead in July. I just got so mad at her for asking me to think past today and into the future. I guess the thought of resuming a normal life, leaving my house, and driving scares me. I have a therapy appointment in 2 weeks. I'll book one next week with my regular therapist, although she doesn't seem very helpful. And I 100% take that back, Dr. Ashley. If you ever see this, I am so freaking sorry. I think you just didn't realize what was going on at the time. So when I reached out to you, I don't think you knew what was actually happening. So my apologies because you are the most helpful. She doesn't see. I don't want to overdo it, but I want support. Until next time, I'll break down some of my thoughts on that in a minute. Okay, this is June 13th. My heart hurts so much. Everything relates back to Travis. Any commercial, anything on TV, anything relates back to losing my baby and brings me to tears. My body is starting to worry me. I have lots of scar tissue and swelling around my seatbelt line. I hope things eventually go back to normal, although I think it will take a very long time. I feel so bad for Nico. I know he knows something is wrong. Why is mommy always crying? I was playing with him today and broke into tears. Playing with Nico makes me so happy, but makes my heart hurt so much. I see the face of Travis looking back at me when Nico looks back. Or maybe I don't see it, but I long for it. It makes me so sad. I'm supposed to have 2 sons' faces staring up at me. I'm trying to be a good parent to Nico, but I want to be fair to myself. Where is the balance of taking care of your child while taking care of yourself? Thank God for Aaron. He has been such a saint. He has really shown his strength and resilience through this. He must be so tired. We have to go back to normal life soon. I want my house back, but will be anxious when my parents leave. I don't know how I'm going to go back to be a full time parent and be in charge of house responsibilities. Lastly, work is something I'll have to deal with. I'm sure it will be good to have some purpose. However, moving on in life right now seems impossible. All right, so breaking down some of the things that I put in my first and very, very first journal entry. One of the things that I mentioned on here that I think is of note is it is surprising. It was surprising, and even still, just on this video, I'm fine with crying in front of people. I am fine with showing my emotions, but really, with what happened with Travis, it really just. I used to always have like a very strong, or try to have a very strong front, but after what everything what happened with Travis, I really gave myself grace to feel however I was going to feel and to open up. And actually, one of the things that I found really valuable is I ended up having these incredible experiences with total strangers because I did allow myself to feel and I did allow myself to openly talk about what had happened with me. So I was meeting these, and I continue to do so, some incredible people that I had moments that not only helped me, but moments that really helped them um, in their own lives. And I don't think that I would have been able to do that had I not allowed myself to just feel whatever was going on. And of course, I was a grieving mother. I think um, this was less than a month. This was June 10th, and it happened on the 27th. So everything was incredibly fresh and new, and it continues to be is equally as painful as it was, day one. But so one of the things that I really did find rewarding was that because I was able to let things out to people, whomever, it was never inappropriate. I always made sure that it was like, within normal boundaries of appropriate behavior. But I did find some great connections with other humans that I was actually be able to bring healing through some of the things that I was going on. And that started in June, but it has been continued throughout this whole journey. The guilt that I did feel for my son, my sons, my mother, who really had some serious bodily injury with a broken hip and arm, and just derailed her life. But the fact that, like, I was the driver, and I don't think there is anything I could have done. There were some things I could have done that I think would have put other members of the car in danger. One thing I actually am proud about, which sounds kind of crazy, is that I did choose to steer my own side of the car into the oncoming traffic of the man who killed my son. So I felt like that was admirable. At probably 2 years later, I finally gave myself that grace to do that. But at this time, I had extreme guilt for not being able to protect my family. I do want to touch on the fact that the God punishing me thing comment in here, it did very much feel like that. But now, as I've done my own healing and my own relationship with God, I was raised Catholic. So some of the things that I learned or I took away from my upbringing in Catholicism is not the greatest for the relationship with God. I more so had a relationship with a punishing God, and so I think that's where some of that comment came from. Now, it didn't take me very long to really shift that mindset through probably connecting with God. That God didn't do this. God created Travis to protect me, to keep me on this earth, to be here to do this. And I do feel like that was Travis's purpose, to save me, to help you, to continue to be a mother to Nika, who is obviously here on this earth. He's 6 years old now. But at that time, when I was in the hospital and then post-hospital, it was a lot of why me? And that's, of course, like a normal reaction for a lot of people that deal with tragedy is, why me? Why did this happen to me? And you get mad about it. And when I finally realized that it happened to me to ignite my purpose in life, things got so much better. And it got so much better because I oftentimes say that, like, the worst thing that's ever happened to me, which is obviously the loss of my child and physical and mental and emotional pain, and it's taken me on this incredible journey, but it's also the best thing that happened to me, because I do feel that I am my best self. I'm my strongest self, and I know what my true purpose is in life. And I would not have had that had this had not happened to me. Some of the things else I talked about was just like Nico having a sibling, and to this day, that really does break my heart. That he's very aware of what happened. He's very aware. We talk about it all the time. And he's actually an incredibly emotionally intelligent child, because we haven't shielded him from the hardships of what happened. We didn't talk to him about it in the ways that we would talk to an adult, obviously, but we did educate him on what's going on, and he does very much understand what he lost and what he gained, a guardian angel. But he would really love for his brother to be here with him and enjoy the relationship of a sibling. Unfortunately, My marriage is in a separation and headed towards divorce. And one of the things that we just like really couldn't align with was feeling like we were on the same page to have another child. And so I think one of the decisions that I made, and that's a conversation for a different time, but was to move towards a direction so that his father and I both could find other partners or other situations where more children were incorporated into our lives so that Nico could have the enjoyment to be able to share his love, because he is a child that is full of love and passion and just would thrive in a sibling situation. Lastly, in this entry, one of the things that I talked about was the resuming of a normalcy in a normal life. My parents were staying with me. They ended up staying with me for 5 weeks. My mother came home from the hospital, I think a couple days later for me, and actually her first surgery was not successful in regards to rebuilding her hip. So she was unable to really do anything besides be in bed for 5 weeks. So my father was with us as well. Aaron and it was, obviously there, but so it really felt super scary, and it really was kind of infuriating that I was being asked to, in a very normal way, to resume normal life and to plan, because my whole world was just shattered. My son was killed. I'm physically head to toe bruised with internal bleeding, all the things. And so it was just like, how fucking dare you ask me to plan something as a normal appointment, just something to plan our next session. Like, I was just, how dare you? I am just trying to make it through today. So of course I made it and did the appointment, but it just really rocked my world that it was just like, you want me to plan? You want me to do something so normal and to make an additional follow-up appointment? Like, how dare you? So that was something. So going to my second journal entry, everything relating back to Travis, when you lose a loved one, and this honestly was my first real tragic death, or something that was really, really close to my heart. My parents, thank God, are still living. My grandparents, I lost them at a younger age, or not somebody that was really, really close to me. I've had friends that have unfortunately passed, and obviously that was devastating, but a family member that, to me, I don't think there's anything worse than losing a child. But, I haven't dealt with it all, so I don't know. But like, to lose a child, I think probably is the greatest pain. It's most certainly my greatest pain. And so when you lose somebody, everything reminds you of them. Or, in my case, I didn't have memories with my son, but I grieve so much for the memories I lost with my son, and very much so the memories that my two sons would have together. And so it was just constantly, this is again less than a month out. So much was relating to this baby that I was expecting, this baby that saved me, but also a baby that really, like, I had difficulties in my first pregnancy with having to do infertility, and my son was born premature, and Travis was conceived on a fluke, and we weren't really trying, and it wasn't like, it was just a sparse month. And so Travis came up out of nowhere. And so, he was my miracle baby. He was coming, and I wanted such a normal pregnancy. And yeah, so everything, like, seeing Nico's face and Travis's face looking back at me, it was hard. It's still hard. And like, having the support of Nico, actually, even as just as a 2-year-old, you don't realize how much children can save you. And my son definitely saved me, because both of my sons saved me. Because if Nico didn't exist, I would have much rather have died with Travis. And so I would have, I don't know what I would have done, to be honest. I still wanted to be with him. So of course I had Nico on earth, and I knew I needed to be there and support him. But if I had died with Travis, I don't think I wanted that. I would have preferred to die with him. And so I knew Nico would grow up without a mother, but if I had the option at that time, I think I would have gone with them, just to be with them. So that's a hard thing to admit, But my son Nico did, or his name is really Dominic, but he did save me because it was somebody to live for, somebody to love. And throughout the years, like Nico, I don't think realizes how much he's done for me. I need to tell him. And at that time too, obviously we're having changes in our marital structure, but at that time, Aaron, my then husband, and Nico's father and Travis's father, really stepped it up and just was there for all of my physical needs, and was doing everything. He lost his son too, but couldn't fix it for his wife and child. So I can't imagine the pain that he felt when just like getting the call and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's a breakdown of entry number 2. It's mortifying to be crying like this, but like I said, I'm okay with it. If it helps you identify some of the feelings that you're having, that's my only wish. Thanks, guys.